Hey guys, Chris here. Sorry I've been away for a little while. Spent a little time with the families during holidays and just kind of sneaking a review in. Notice the different backdrop. I'm actually in a different room, different setting. The table that I normally review on has to go away during the holidays, so for the Christmas tree. It gets put away, so I don't have that desk available to me right now. So I'm kind of in a different location. But hoping to come back with some force here. Bringing you a ZT knife. Zero tolerance. Oh yeah, you see it in the background. The 0561 ZT Hinderer. Man, I am thoroughly impressed with this knife. I will say that a million times over. This thing is awesome. I first came into contact with this knife through Blade HQ, actually. I noticed it on their website out of stock, and I was like, I'm going to check that out. Well, I got an email notification as soon as it came back in stock in May. I've had this blade since then, and I've been testing it and reviewing it for you. Some people would see a knife along this line and think, man, that's really a collector's knife. $260 price tag is kind of steep. Yeah, we're going to cut straight to the price on this one because it's not a cheap knife, but the overall quality on this thing is amazing. It is definitely worth the money, and you do get what you pay for when it comes to knives. I've had crappy knives, cheap knives. You've seen many of them in other videos. I've also got high-end knives. You guys don't know that about me because I don't throw them out there. So let's go and jump on into the review. First off, ZT, whenever you get a knife from them, comes in this it was a pretty nice box, which it should be, for typically what you pay for them. Little basic set of instructions of how to sharpen, don't cut yourself, and so on and so forth. It comes in this nice little bubble baggie, and a delicatessen packet in there. This knife is just joy. It is a flipper action, flies open with authority, and that's just me slowly deploying it. We'll start at the tip. It is a drop point design. It's got nice flats. If you use like a consistent angle sharpener, like an Edge Pro Apex or the Wicked Edge. I don't have one of those yet, but I'm looking to get one, guys, because I think it will make my knife's edge sparkle. You can see that beautiful stonewash finish the Zero Tolerance does on those. It's got an unsharpened swedge almost along the spine here. Really helps to cut down a little bit of weight, but gives it a very precise tip, but very strong tip. The blade steel, in case you were wondering, is LMAX, and you can see the serial number there. It's 1668. It's the 0561. It's a Hinderer design, so it's designed by famous knife maker Rick Hinderer. In case some of you don't know who he is, try to find one of his custom knives. You'll realize very quickly how the value that this knife already has. Most of his knives, typically, if you don't feel like Googling it, go for over $1,000, or in that between $800 to $1,000. This December 2012 prices, they're up there, but he makes some really awesome stuff. I've seen one in person. Didn't get a chance to handle it because it was kind of under glass and big crowd, so decided to just get the heck away. But you know, it is what it is. There's a high demand for his knives, and this right here is where I think you can get into a great Rick Hinderer design knife for a fraction of the cost. And I say a fraction of the cost, to most people that's still a lot of money, but you get a high quality product. The LMAX steel has great edge retention. I've not sharpened this once. I've stropped it a couple times just to kind of keep the edge honed, and it will still this is just an envelope. Terrible example. Let's see if we can find anything else. What else do we have? Oh, a Citibank application. Yeah, I'm not going to use that, so let's just cut that in half. Boom. So, I mean, this sucker out of the box is wicked sharp. I haven't sharpened it in 7 months. And the reason I haven't sharpened it is because I wanted to see how long that edge would really hold just with some light stropping. I'm not doing anything crazy. No diamond compounds. Just some light stropping just to make sure that the edge stays beveled. Stays together nice. Moving on down. The stop pins in the closed position, or in the open position, are the thumb studs. So they have thumb stud stop pins. I have a problem whipping that sucker out with those thumb studs. It really wants to stick. That detent is awesome. That's what also helps the flipper action be as fast as it is. Also, another thing that helps that flipper action out is the KVT, or cage ball bearing systems, that ZT uses from the KIA or Kershaw. The cage ball bearings really keep this knife really smooth. I think it's about time that I take this sucker apart. I haven't taken it apart yet, but I have played with it quite a bit. I believe the screws are T8s. Pretty sure on that one. I think the body screws might be a T10. I'll double check that later and annotate it if I'm wrong. This does have a 4-way positionable pocket clip. Left, right, up, down. And it is one of my favorite clips to date. Oops, sorry guys. The loop over ZT clip. The only thing I don't like is sometimes that sucker is a little sharper than I want it to be. And I've actually torn up my steering wheel cover with this very clip. I'm going to do a whole little mini thing on pocket clips here, guys, later. But I'm going to show you what all it's done to a steering wheel cover I have. Why I like certain ones better than I like others. As you can tell, the backside is a 6AL 4V titanium. It is a carbonized lock face, and it is 3D machined. And in case you didn't know, this is a frame lock, Reeve integral frame lock. There's the lockup, guys. It's about 40%. I've been flipping the heck out of this thing. Has a nice lock bar cut out there. Some meaningful jimping. Very sharp, actually. Very aggressive. Very aggressive jimping on the lock bar there. Has the patented Hinderer stabilizer bar to keep the over travel. And what that does is, on a lot of frame locks, you will overextend that bar and bend your bar. This keeps it to where you cannot overextend it, so that your knife won't just basically be a piece of junk after you got your adrenaline going and you're disengaging the lock and you pop the sucker over too far. Then you got a busted knife, and there's no point to having a busted knife. The 3D machined G10 on this side is the flat dark earth, if you can't tell. Does have a nice sized lanyard hole right there. Feed plenty of 550 cord through. The backside liner on that G10 right there is actually steel. On some of your higher end knives it is titanium. I know on some Emersons, on a few of the older Emersons it was titanium from what I heard. And then actually some other of like the Kershaw Tilt is titanium. One of the cool things about this knife is ZT went in there and really milled out. That's on the inside of the lock bar, man. Look how milled out that is. And even on the underside, let's see if we can get up in there. There we go. You can see those pockets. And if you take this scale off, you will see how milled out everything is. Let's go around to the back side. I mean, they milled out everything. Anything that can be milled, that wasn't necessary weight got milled on this knife. That's one of the things I love about it, is the weight for this size. You get so much size. You get a 3 3/4 inch blade, and I mean, just overall massive package. 5 inches closed, guys. It's going to be 8.8 inches overall length when it's opened up, and total weight 5.8 ounces. This thing, I mean, for me, it's one of the total packages. It has very meaningful jimping up front. It's just great, nice texture on the handles, so it definitely is not going to slip. The flipper acts as a guard, so it could flex into a tactical role if you needed it. It's a little big for most people's EDC tasks, and I find it big for my EDC tasks. But when it comes down to having a flat-out tactical blade on you, there is nothing that this knife can't do. Great ergonomics on this knife. I mean, this is just no hot spots. This is just one of my favorite knives to hold, and anybody that has ever picked this knife up has absolutely loved it. Now I'm going to do what I typically do, guys, and roll in a couple more competitive options. While I don't have anything in this exact price range, please forgive me, because that's an expensive knife. I personally don't have anything that's quite there, but I got some stuff that's close, and I'm going to roll it in and kind of tell you the pros and cons of those. We've got, first up, another ZT knife. Bet you didn't see that one coming, guys. That is a ZT 0550 black blade. Got a review I'm going to do on that one later. I don't really carry that one. That is one of the few that I say is collectible. Check out that serial number. Look how low that sucker is. You know why it's so low? Because they only made 800. Got the Frag G10 scale on there. Overall size, though, I mean, tip to tip, I mean, you get a lot more. You get a lot more knife with the 561 than you do with the 551. Those are the closest as far as the price goes. This is a lot heavier knife, but it is a manual action, and it's just a great overall knife. Good EDC knife, very chunky, very bricky feeling. So if that's something you like more, maybe you want to go to the 551. But as far as slimness, ergonomics, very smoothed out, contoured, 561 is hard to beat. Another knife that is going to only stack up in size, definitely not cost. Check that out. Huh. Not a lot of people are comparing a Spyderco military to this sucker. Not what I've seen. Most people that are collecting or comparing higher end knives. But the overall size and the function, they're basically the same role. I've got a lot of handle with this knife. I've got a great big old sweeping belly, great jimping, fairly solid traction. This is actually fairly old G10, been worked on. I mean, the G10 on Spyderco's does fade after time as far as the traction ability of it. And this is CPMS 30V, so not quite the edge retention of the LMAX from so far what I'm experiencing, but overall tactical folder. I mean, this is one of the quintessential tactical folders as the Spyderco military, and I think that this knife stacks up very well. Speed, great blade. Got a review coming on that one too. Let's slide in another one. Another Spyderco Manix 2. This is the M4 Sprint Run. Throwing that in there because the overall form factor, it's a little bit smaller, but great hard lockup, and the steel choice on this one is something that I feel is very comparable in edge retention ability to the LMAX. It's got super hard, fine wearing edge. It gets razor sharp. That M4 steel is just phenomenal. I think that's all I'm going to compare it to, guys. Just because I really don't have a lot of other hard use tactical folders that are even in the ballpark as far as price range or size goes. But out of all these knives, one knife that I continue to come back to is this 0561. It is just so hard to beat. You get a flipper design, which is not only cool as hell to open, but it's fast. It's got one of the best ergonomics out of all the knives I've just put out there on the table. Spyderco Military is hard to beat though, man. It's a great knife. But as far as the edge retention goes, I'm finding that the LMAX steel on the ZT 0561 is just kind of hard to beat. Alright guys, y'all know the deal. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up in the comments box. Later.